I said you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna crap thunder.
You're listening to the Basketball Jones with J.E. Skeets and Tass. If you'd like to have your say, then give us a call on the Jones line, 416-519-4778, or email us at jones@thebasketballjones.net. And now, here are your hosts, J.E. Skeets and Tass Melas.
Episode 015, April 20th, 2006. You are listening to the Basketball Jones. Congratulations. This is the Western Conference NBA Playoff Preview Podcast. Woo!
Listen to that music. This is the NBA, baby.
That's right. I am J.E. Skeets. Alongside me, a man who loves Greek salad, pitas, and his cell phone way too much, Tass Melas.
I've never heard someone describe me in 10 words or less.
And I just say that.
And there it is.
Yeah, I just
That's
got
my
it.
eulogy,
Perfect.
man.
Yeah, put that on the tombstone and run it, making sure we don't die here in the booth. Man, making the show, making it happen. JD.
Hello.
There he is. Tass, we've done the Eastern Conference. Time to get into the West, where the teams are actually above 500, which sort of helps, you know.
We're gonna have some tough matchups because there's a lot of great teams, as you said. Great balance, 1 through 8 in this conference.
Yeah, we're going to talk to blogger representatives from all the Western teams. We're talking like Pounding the Rock for the Spurs, the Forum Blue and Gold for the Lakers, tons of Sacktown royalty. They're all here. We're going to get to them all, go through matchups, series, factors. Oh, it's going to be good. I'm pumped. I love John Tesh, and I'm pumped.
Can't stop John. We've had a great Eastern Conference playoff preview. Gonna have a great Western preview. We got 2 shows each week, Skeets. Did you know that we're doing 2 shows a week for the rest of the playoffs?
No one told me this.
All right, well, every Thursday and Monday, we've got a show.
All right, we're going to get to Matt Powell from Pounding the Rock, get into the 1 versus 8. You're listening to Basketball Jones. Stick with us.
You're listening to the Basketball Jones with Tass and J.E. Skeets.
Tottenham Hotspur is the team. Tottenham Hotspur, the best you've ever seen. Tottenham Hotspur, come and watch us play. Tottenham Hotspur.
Listen to this song, Hot Spurs. This is called Hot Spurs Boogie, isn't it?
Hotspur's booty.
It's an amazing song.
Is it?
I got this on the iPod. Oh yeah, I love working out to this song. Man. Oh, I just get the tries going. Anyway, you're back with the Basketball Jones.
That's a pile of hooey. That's what that
I'm Jay
sounds
Skeets.
like.
What? I got small tries? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Jay Skeets, Tass Melas, JD. We're time to get into our first series. It's the 1 versus 8. But it's a good 1 versus 8 compared to the... let's not talk about the Pistons.
The
Bucks.
least conference.
Yeah. And we have with us, for the San Antonio Spurs, a fantastic site. One of my favorite blogs, poundingtherock.com. Matt Powell from Pounding the Rock. Are you there, Matt?
I'm there. How you guys doing?
Good,
We're
man.
doing great,
Thanks
Matt.
for coming on to the show.
No, I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Is
All
there?
right.
I mean, we threw this out to the Pistons. Ian from Detroit Bad Boys when we did our Eastern Conference show. Is there any chance in hell that the Kings can beat the Spurs?
You know, barring injury, I really don't see that happening. And mainly because they really don't match up defensively all that well against the Spurs. They have the obvious huge problem of who's going to guard Tony Parker. Because I've watched actually quite a few Kings games this year, and I think Bibby's probably the second most apathetic defensive player in the entire league behind Jones for Miami. He really just doesn't seem to care most of the time. So he's going to have a lot of problems with Parker. But it'll be interesting to see how they guard Parker, because usually what happened last year in the playoffs is the first 2 games of every series Parker would go off, and then teams would just stop playing him straight up and just back 10 feet off him and just beg him to shoot the ball.
Yeah, make him shoot the ball. Exactly.
Yeah, which, you know, I always wondered, because to me it was obvious he couldn't shoot, and for whatever reason, I guess it was pride, the other team thinking they should be able to keep him out of the lane. They always would take a couple games before trying that, and so it'll be interesting to see if the Kings just start off doing that right away, or if they try playing him straight up a couple games. But
All right.
and they also don't have anyone to guard Duncan, so they have 2.
Oh yeah, they've got Tim Duncan too. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, we still have him. 1-footed or not, he's still pretty good, and I'm not really worried about Brad Miller or Sharif or Kenny Thomas being able to slow him down. So
Does Tim have?
I think there's no chance.
Does Tim? But you said Tim is playing on one leg. When Parker was taken out of games, Tim had to do it. Manu had to do it. Can these guys rely upon a couple guys that were injured this year in Manu and Tim Duncan?
You know, I think Duncan is actually a little bit better than he was last year physically. Last year he had the two ankles, and he sprained both ankles multiple times, and he seemed very timid at the end of the year. And lately, in just the past week or so, he's really come around from an aggression standpoint. So I think he's going to be fine, but the biggest quandary is what's Ginobili going to do? Because last year in the playoffs, I mean, I think people sort of know that he did really well, but he was
a little bit of an unknown, right?
Yeah. Well, that too. He was an unknown, but if you look at the numbers he put up, like I don't know if you guys are familiar with true shooting percentage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stat that sort of gives you extra credit for shooting threes and making them and then getting to the line. But he had a true shooting percentage of 65%, which is it's so good that it's better than Jordan ever did or Shaq ever did.
Wow.
I know, it's unheard of. I mean, he had games where he would score like 35 points on like 12 field goal attempts. It was ridiculous stuff like that, and I don't think, even if he was healthy, he could ever do that again. And they needed that last year to get past the Pistons. So that's my biggest concern is if Parker's shot isn't falling, if Duncan can't rise above where he was last year, can Ginobili get close to what he was last year? I'm not sure he can.
All right, that is a great point. And we saw Tony Parker carry his team with Ginobili and Duncan out this year. Is this Tony Parker's coming out party for the playoffs? Because it seemed like it was his regular season, but can he carry it into the playoffs?
I have my doubts. I mean, he's been excellent this year, and he's definitely upped his game. But if people look at that increased field goal percentage, and they assume that his jumper has improved, dramatically. And if you look at just the isolated numbers on his jump shot, last year he made about 41% of his jump shots, and this year he's up to like 42.5%. And that's still not that good. I mean, it's worse than someone like Luke Ridnour, who's known as not being a good shooter.
Right
so
on.
What I'm concerned with is, like I said, if the defenses just start collapsing and just begging him to shoot, is he going to want to shoot the ball? Is he going to be effective? And, he's had the tendency, he'll miss a couple shots in the playoffs, and all of a sudden he sort of goes into a shell.
Hey Matt, would the world collapse upon itself if Ron Artest plays defense on Bruce Bowen and Bruce Bowen plays defense on Ron Artest?
It would be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen. I'm really, really worried about Ron Artest just because he's been too sane all year. I don't know if he's letting stuff build up. And I'm just, worried about getting them in an elimination game and backing him into the wall and backing him into a corner and him maybe snapping.
That'd be a great scrap. I'd love to see that, Bruce versus Ron.
Well, yeah, as long as, Bruce protects Ginobili and the other guys. We need to throw some cannon fodder at Artest.
Okay, so Matt from PoundingRock.com, let's hear the final prediction for the first round. Spurs and Kings, what's your number? How many games?
Well, the Spurs will give one game away because that's what they do every series. So I'll give the Kings 1 win. So Spurs in 6.
So you'll give them 2 wins. You're going to say that the Spurs give away 1 and the Kings win 1 outright. 6 games for the Spurs. Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to hear from Tom Ziller from Sacktown Royalty to get his take.
That's a great name.
Tom Ziller's a great name from Sacramento. We want to thank Matt Powell from PoundingTheRock.com, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from you as the playoffs progress, Matt.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Lots more coming up. We'll get into Tom Ziller and Sacktown Royalty right after the break.
Hear what I like, sing, shout, let's call out. Tottenham Hotspur.
Throw you a W in the sky, Tass. Throw it up there. We're going to Sacktown.
Taking it back.
We're going to Cali.
Let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West.
All right, we talked about the San Antonio Spurs with Matt Powell from Pounding the Rock. Time to hear what the 8th seed thinks. Time to hear what the Sacramento Kings fans think. And we have one of the best, probably the best Sacramento King fan out there from Sacktown Royalty, Tom Ziller. Tom, are you there?
What's going on, fellas?
How you doing, Tom?
What's cracking?
Not much, man. We were just playing a little California Love there.
California Love. Yeah,
it's a little old
out here.
Yeah, it's a little old. So Sacktown, can they take down the defending champs quickly? Run with that. Can they take them down?
They can. The Spurs haven't been on top of their game at all this year. They have a better record, but it's all in the close games. They've been doing better in close games this season. They just haven't been the same San Antonio Spurs that we're used to seeing the last couple of years. And the Sacktown team, no one knows about them. No one knows what they can do. I mean, 26-14 since Ron Artest came to town, and this is with a whole new team. Only Bibby and Miller have been here since before last season, so these guys are learning on the fly, and they're doing it, and they can definitely pull it off.
But you're talking about a San Antonio Spurs team that was 63-19. You might say that they haven't been doing it all year, Tom, but you can't argue that number. 63 wins.
63-19. That's all well and good and everything, but anyone that's watched this team this season knows that they're not as good as the team from last year, or the team from 2 years ago. Their points margin isn't nearly as big. Their defense is still the best in the league because they have one of the best perimeter defenders and the best power forward defender in the league, but it's still not where it was last year. And Tim Duncan's walking around on a bad leg right there. So
that's right.
Without him, who are they?
Okay, who's the X factor that you see in this series? And I guess both from the Kings' point of view and from the Spurs, who's that X factor that's really going to sway who's going to take this series?
I think on the Spurs side, Manu Ginobili is going to have a big series because every shot that Tony Parker hits, Bibby's going to be able to match him. Bibby's the main offensive threat for the Kings, so he's going to be able to stay with Parker. And when you got Brad Miller and Sharif Abdur-Rahim in the front court, that neutralizes Tim Duncan to a degree. If Tim Duncan puts up 28, Brad Miller and Sharif are going to put up 28 in the front court. So when you look at Manu Ginobili, if he comes through, if he gets the fouls that he always gets to the line, hits some shots, he can definitely help San Antonio put the Kings away early. On the Kings side, someone from the bench besides Sharif's got to come up, and that's going to have to be Kevin Martin probably. He's been really inconsistent of late, but he had 17 last game, 20 the game before that, so maybe he's putting it all back together.
Now we were just talking to Matt from Pounding the Rock. He actually said that Bibby can't hang with Parker.
Please. Matt doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, Matt's a good friend, but Tony Parker's quick. He has no shot, absolutely no shot. And all it's going to take is someone to figure that out and defend him and make him hit shots before he gets neutralized. Parker scored 18 and 18.8 this season, something like that. Mm-hmm. Bibby's had 21 plus with a constantly rotating cast of characters around him. Bibby has had, everyone talks about Tony Parker having his best season, a dark horse kind of second-tier MVP candidate. But What about Mike Bibby,
What about Mike Bibby?
He wasn't as good as TP was early in the season, but he's definitely come around, and he said it's by far his best season.
All right, so when you talk Sacktown, you got to talk about their identity, and their identity starts with Ron Artest. He has changed his team. They're huge, as he said, 26-14 since Ron came around. He has predicted a first-round win against the Spurs. That's a bold statement. What do you think Ron's...
That's a crazy statement.
Well, Ron has been known to be a little crazy.
Man.
No, he's not crazy?
He's the sanest person in the league. Absolutely. No, Ron came in, and they lost the first two games with him. It was a game up in Toronto that I'm sure you guys remember.
That's right. Mm-hmm. I was there.
Was his second game in the league, or on the team, and that was a high-scoring affair, overtime loss. Right after that game is when he guaranteed the playoffs, and within a month they were back in the hunt and up into the 7th seed, and they faltered a little bit, and the Lakers have been on fire with teams, rolling over for him, teams showing up at the arena.
So can he stop
the 7th seed?
Sorry to cut you off, Tom, but you said Manu's going to be the big factor for Sacramento. Obviously, they're going to throw Ron on him to neutralize him. Can he stop Manu?
He can. One thing Ron's really good at doing, and maybe it's because he has such a good reputation with the rest as far as a defensive player, but he doesn't give up a lot of fouls. He gets a lot of steals off the dribble. He gets a lot of passing steals. He doesn't give up a lot of fouls, and that's where Manu makes his bread and butter is with the flops, getting to the line. The old, Vlade Divac strategy.
That's right. Okay, so let's. You sound confident. Let's hear the final prediction. Spurs, Kings. What's your call?
The Kings in 7.
They're
going to take it all the way to the 7. And, Game 7, you never know what's going to happen, but I think the Kings can pull it off. They got the X factor in Ron Artest. No one knows what he's going to do next. So I think what he's going to do next is beat the Spurs.
So there it is. You heard it first. You heard it here on the Basketball Jones. Tom Ziller from Sacktown Royalty
Tom's got me
calling
excited.
the upset. Kings over the Spurs in 7. We're going to talk about another series that could go 7 after the break in the Suns and the Lakers. Tons coming up on the show. Western Conference special. You're listening to the Basketball Jones.
Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Straight putting it down for California, yeah.
You're listening to the Basketball Jones with Tass and J.E. Skeets.
You are back with the Basketball Jones. Man, that must feel good.
What's that?
To be back with us, Jay Skeets, Tass Melas, JD. Time to get to our second series. I'm loving this series. Oh man, this is going to be fun to watch.
You better believe it.
ABC knows it's going to be fun to watch because I think it's one of the main ones they picked up there.
They picked it. That's
Yep.
right.
Phoenix versus the Lakers. 2 versus a 7, and with us. Coming back with us, he was there for the Eastern Conference preview. He's here for the Western Conference preview. Chris Clark filling in for
the clutch, Chris Clark.
Yeah, for a Phoenix Suns representative. Chris from End of the Bench. Chris, are you there?
Yep, here guys.
There he is.
What's
He's
going
back.
on, Chris?
What's up?
All right, so let's do it. We got the Phoenix Suns. We got the Los Angeles Lakers. This is going to be a fun playoff series.
Absolutely. This is the one to watch. You guys know it. ABC knows it. Everybody knows it. It's Kobe. It's Phoenix. It's just going to be off the wall.
All right, so the last 2 years, the Phoenix has run these guys off the court. They're 7-1 against them. That won a meaningless win last week. What is Phoenix? Or too many people, are giving the Lakers a lot of credit.
Yeah,
in my mind.
what's with that? Everyone's picking the Lakers all of a sudden.
Since Nash has been there, they've absolutely wiped the Lakers. Do you think the Lakers have any shot in beating the Phoenix Suns?
I think they do. I think the Lakers have a chance at taking this series. I know it won't be easy for LA, but they've got a good shot. It's pretty much all going to hinge upon one player, and everybody knows that player is Raja Bell.
Well, that was for a little spin there. I like that. So what are you saying, Raja? If Raja can contain Kobe, is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. If Raja can play his defensive game and hold Kobe to maybe under 30 points a game, I think Phoenix has a really good chance of doing this.
Hold on. Why do we even need to contain Kobe? Why aren't the Suns just like, you know what? Let Kobe get 50, let him get 60. Let's just keep everyone else in check, and we'll keep beating them like we have the last 2 seasons when we got Nash playing.
Because you can't let Kobe go off. He goes off and he beats you all by himself, and you guys have seen that all season long.
No, but in Phoenix's first 3 games this year, Kobe went for 40 plus, and they still lost. They still can't beat Phoenix. They're actually calling Raja Bell a Kobe stopper when they let him when he goes off for 40 plus, and they still can't win. Don't you think there has to be some secondary parts to get them some points? Obviously, if Kobe was going for 40 plus and they can't win, who's going to help him out?
Well, Lamar Odom has to do something. Smush Parker has to play well in probably his first playoff games ever. There has to be a lot of support coming from the Lakers bench, which is pretty much non-existent. But I'm looking at this series and I'm thinking, Phoenix plays their game, contains Kobe, they've got it. If Kobe goes off and just goes nuts, as he probably will at some point, the Lakers will probably win the series. It's too close to call. I'm going to say it right now. I think it's too close to call. It could go 7 games, and Kobe's a 3-time champion. He's going to, do everything he can to pull his Lakers up through
He's a 3-time champion, but Chris Mim isn't Shaquille O'Neal or
Chris
Kwame.
Mim is made out of wood. The guy's stiff as a board.
We're talking about a team here that struggled all year until the last quarter of the year when they turned it up. We're talking about the Lakers here. I don't understand how people can give them so much credit into knocking off a number 2 seed in Phoenix.
Phoenix is reeling. They haven't really played well of late. They've been inconsistent the last few weeks of the season. They're not playing their best basketball. They really lost a lot of momentum when Amari tried to come back and it just didn't work out for them. I think we'd be talking about a completely different series, completely different. If Amari Stoudemire had come back, played a couple games, and been able to not get injured. If they were going into this series with Amari Stoudemire maybe 50-60%, I think we'd be talking about a Phoenix Suns sweep here.
But Chris, they're just a few games worse without Amari the entire year. I don't understand how, and they went to the conference finals last year. How can people not give them credit for being a solid team?
Is it just because, and everyone says this, when it comes to the playoffs, you have to play defensive. You have to play defense, which we all know the Suns
But they showed it
don't
last
know
year.
what that means.
They showed it last year. They won 2 playoff series, beat the Mavs in the second playoff series, played a tough series against the Spurs in the conference final. Yeah, Amari Stoudemire was there, but they're only a few games worse, and they have a great player in Nash who makes everybody better. They're just a really good team. You're playing against a team without Kobe Bryant probably wins 20 games. They have no other parts other than Kobe Bryant. He went off for 40 in the 3 games that they beat the Suns. I don't understand how anyone's giving them any credit. And Steve Nash is appearing on a Wheaties box this week. How can they lose? Give me a break.
Chris, what do you think about this real quickly? And I've heard this, it's been thrown out there. Put Kobe Bryant on Steve Nash. What are your thoughts on that?
If you put Kobe Bryant on Steve Nash, I think you're going to have Kobe Bryant exhausted by the end of the game.
I agree.
That's a very good point.
Not very effective offensively. Certainly not capable of doing what he's probably expected to do, and that's carry the Lakers throughout this playoffs entirely. Okay, you on the Eastern Conference special, you said the Heat were going to go 6 games against the Bulls. This is another 2-7 matchup. Chris, let's hear the prediction for the Suns and the Lakers. I really, truly believe this one is too close to call, but I know
too close to call. What's it going to go, 8 games?
If it goes 8 games, I'll eat my shorts. This series, it could go either way. I'm putting it all on Roger Bell, but based on the fact that it's such a tight matchup, I'm gonna have to go with Phoenix. They're the higher seed. They've got more talent. They spread it around much better. Going with Phoenix in 6 games.
All right.
Phoenix in 6. It's not even 7, but that's Chris Clark. Chris from End of the Bench. Check out this site. He's talking ball every day. endofthebench.mostvaluablenetwork.com. Chris, thank you. We're going to hear from the flip side. We're going to go to the Lakers and hear from Kurt from Forum Blue and Gold right after the break. You're listening to the Basketball Jones.
You jonesing for some basketball? You're listening to the Basketball Jones with J.E. Skeets and Taz.
You're back with the Basketball Jones. Oh, I love this song. Magic Johnson.
You say that about every song.
Oh, I just love music, Taz. Okay.
You're one of those.
We got the 2. We just talked to Phoenix Suns. We talked to Chris Clark from End of the Bench. Gave his thoughts on the Suns. Time to talk Lakers. Showtime. Sort of back. I guess it is. We have Kurt from Forum Blue and Gold, a fantastic Lakers blog. Kurt, are you there?
I am here.
There he is.
How's it going, Kurt?
It's going pretty well.
And we should tell our listeners right now, Kurt is actually at the hospital because his wife just gave birth to another healthy child, and you said a girl, right?
Yeah, it's my second girl, and we're hoping to be out of here in time for the first playoff game, just because my first daughter was born during the Laker Pistons 2004 final, and I didn't really enjoy that one.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, so thank you for coming on the show, for being at the hospital. What's that?
I enjoyed my daughter, by the way, not the series.
Okay, good.
I'll make that clear.
You're a good father, and we will not be taking your children away from you. So against the Phoenix Suns, right off the top, like with Nash playing, the Suns are the Lakers are 1-7 over the last 2 years when Nash plays. With that last one, I guess, being somewhat of a meaningless game
without Nash in the lineup.
Yeah, without Nash in the lineup. How is this Lakers team? And there's a lot of people jumping. I don't want to say jumping on the bandwagon, but actually, this is sort of like their cool chic pick. How do the Lakers beat the Suns?
How do the Lakers beat the Suns involves stopping two things, slowing Steve Nash, and nobody really stops him. But what disturbs Steve Nash traditionally is longer point guards guarding him, guys who are 6'5", 6'6". The Clippers had a lot of luck in the game Sam Cassell was out when they beat him a few weeks ago because they had their second-year guy, Sean Livingston, who's 6'7" and rangy. Swish Parker has had moderate success against him. He's not quick of foot, but he is 6'5". He can make up some of that ground and get in some passing lanes with his arms. He's going to have a tremendous series. And the other thing that's really got to happen, and it's kind of the standard book on the Suns, is you've got to get the ball inside. You've got to make them pack in on defense so that they don't get the quick outlet, that Sean Marion and Boris don't get out in those lanes and start running the floor. And that really is ultimately going to come back to Kwame Brown in a lot of ways. The Lakers need to be able to post him up. They need to be able to get the ball inside and have some effectiveness.
You said, getting back to Nash, do you try to make, in this situation, because like you said, you can't stop the guy, you can only slow him down, but do you try to make Steve Nash more of a scorer than a playmaker?
Yes, to a degree. What the Lakers had some problems with the last time they faced Nash is that the Suns run that high pick and roll all the time, usually with Marion, but they'll run it with a number of guys. The Laker big men the Lakers switched every pick, but then they'd stay back. They were so afraid of Nash's speed and him getting by them for layups that they let him have the jumper, and he steps back and he shot threes over them, and he shot, I want to say 42%, 43% for the year, 42.7, something like that, on three-point attempts. And so you can't just give him the look. They're going to have to step out on him. They're going to have to rotate if he does get past them. And again, that's all easier said than done. Everybody wants to do that.
All right, so the strategy, I hear your strategy in place there. What sort of advantage does Phil Jackson have over Mike D'Antoni? We know that Phil Jackson has never lost a first-round series. How do you think the coaching matchup plays out?
That's an interesting one because I'm actually a big D'Antoni fan. I think he's I love the system they play, and they've got, with Nash, it worked out very well. There's not a lot of point guards who could run what they do nearly as effectively, but I'm curious to see how he reacts in the first. Phil will have some tricks. Phil's, been through this a few times, and I'm curious what he's going to do. He's hinted that he needs to get the ball inside. I expect that to also try to post up Lamar Odom on Sean Marion, maybe try to get some fouls, that kind of thing. We'll see how that goes. But I'm curious to see how D'Antoni reacts, what kind of changes he makes, what kind of things he does to keep the break going.
Do you think?
Obviously, when they've had success against the Lakers, they've sucked them into, and they've had a lot of it, is when the Lakers have gotten sucked into running with them, and the only guy who can run with them is Kobe.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. I was just going to say, do the Lakers really, and does Phil really need to get this team to slow it down?
They have to slow it down. They have to make their shots. Not that completely stops Phoenix from running. They're like a classic 80s team in that they whip it out if you let them off of a made basket. But you've got to make your shots, and you've got to get the ball inside. You've got to force them to collapse their defense and then make shots, or collapse their defense and kick out and hit your open shots. But that way that they're not – Steve Nash isn't hanging out for a high outlet pass and suddenly they're off and running. You've got to slow them. And that also means I think you'll see a little more Luke Walton, who's very patient in the offense, and I'm sure that's what Phil's preaching. Slow it down, run 20 seconds off the clock every time if you can do it.
Right.
All right, Kurt, so give it to us. In your Forum Blue and Gold opinion, who's going to take it? What's your prediction for this series?
My prediction, if I were a betting man, and I'd probably say Phoenix in 6. But I think the Lakers, if they mature and if they play like they have recently, I give them a 25-30% chance of winning this. I think they can do it. They're just going to have to play their best basketball. They've been playing some of that lately.
There it is. Some hope from Kurt from Forum Blue and Gold. We want to congratulate you and your wife for having another child, and thank you for coming on the show. And maybe they will pull that upset, and maybe we'll be hearing from you as the playoffs go on. That's Kurt from Forum Blue and Gold, a fantastic Lakers site. We are going to get into the Nuggets, and we're going to get into the Clippers right after the break. You're listening to the Basketball Jones.
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, nice quote, man. Nice quote.
Yeah.
You're back with the Basketball Jones. Time for our third series here in the Western Conference. Probably the weirdest matchup, just because how it's shaped up. We got the Nuggets with the third seed at 44 and 37 versus the Clippers with home court advantage and the sixth seed at 46 and 35, the better record. But let's get into the Nuggets. And with us on the line, Dan Lucero from Solid Gold, a fantastic Denver Nuggets site, part of the Most Valuable Network conglomerate. Dan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
There he is.
Dan,
How you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. How about you?
Good, man. So what's going on? You're the third seed and you don't have home court advantage, huh?
Well, I can't explain it. Actually, I can't explain it. Nuggets didn't exactly try to win any of their games once they wrapped up the Northwest Division. The focus was more on getting everybody healthy, getting Marcus Camby rested, getting Kenyon Martin a little bit of rest, and they all sat out the final 4 games, which were all ugly losses on the part of the Nuggets. They didn't seem to have much interest in holding off either the Clippers or Memphis for home court advantage in this series.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and actually one I haven't really read much of or heard of is that they could have made quite the push to get that home court advantage. I guess they don't feel they really need it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't understand why that is, but once you're sitting down Marcus Camby and Kenyon Martin every night, I mean, you're left with a front court of Francisco Elsa, Reggie Evans, and while both players certainly have their merits, it's not going to be enough to beat basketball teams that are actually trying to win games. Last night, in the season finale against the Supersonics, in a game where Denver was getting blown out, they came back late, but their crunch time lineup, you've got Howard Isley out there with DeMar Johnson, Linus Kleza, Evans, and Elson, and that's Linus Kleza, the rookie from Missouri. That's not a winning lineup, and I don't know why George Karl decided to rest his guys and to not play to win these final couple weeks. But it's been an ugly last couple of weeks, and this is a team that's just limping into the playoffs.
Well, I think the feeling is that they really need their front court to get healthy because George Karl knows they're not going to win it on the perimeter. They've had trouble shooting the ball. They need it to get healthy. Now, how healthy are these guys? Because it seems like Kmart has disappeared off the face of the planet, and in Camby's sort of...
Camby gets hurt putting on his sweater half the time.
So how healthy are these guys going into the playoffs?
Well, Kenyon Martin hasn't been 100% all season. I think when you look at Martin's numbers, he played 56 games this year, and the same number that Camby's played, oddly enough. And I don't think Martin's been 100% for more than 10, 15 of those games. It's just kind of the way it's been for him. It's been a lost year, still trying to recover from that microfracture knee surgery, and that's a hard operation for anybody to come back and be 100%
for
from.
Sure.
Just ask Penny Hardaway. I mean, he's Exhibit A right there. Martin is a player that I think is the key to the entire series because the big matchup, obviously, the matchup problem, the guy who gave the Nuggets so much trouble in matchups against the Clippers this year was Elton Brand. And when Kmart's healthy, he's capable of hanging out there with Elton Brand. But if he's not 100%, Brand's going to be able to draw him out of the paint and hit jump shots, and there's nothing Martin's going to be able to do to stop it. Now, if Martin's not 100%, Camby should at least be close to 100%. He should be good to go. Also, Earl Boykins will be back. He says he'll be ready to go for Game 1. Eduardo Nahara, another big body, he's back to full strength. And Greg Buckner is a guard who's been hurt, but he should miss the first couple games of this series. So kind of been the story of the whole year for the Nuggets. They've just been banged up all year, never really had their whole lineup together. So we really don't know what this team altogether is capable of, but we might find out here in the playoffs.
All right, and it doesn't seem that anybody's really picking up the scoring other than Melo. Where do you think the scoring is going to come from in this series other than Carmelo Anthony?
It's going to have to come from Andre Miller. Miller's been a pretty good playoff performer the last couple of years. Went for 31 in Game 1 against San Antonio last year, the only game that the Nuggets were able to steal from the Spurs in the first round of the playoffs. The thing about the offense is that if Melo's not picking up the slack, then the Nuggets just aren't a very good basketball team. It's the bottom line. Miller's the guy who's their second leading scorer this year that's going to have to get some scoring done. He's matched up against Sam Cassell, so it's one of the few point guards that he can't really post up and hit that turnaround jumper on. Kenyon Martin, again, will be an X factor here. If they can get anything out of him and Camby offensively, if they can get those guys in the upper double digits, then they're going to be in business. But you're right, somebody's going to have to cover the slack because the last time these two teams played, Melo was completely frustrated by Quentin Ross of the Clippers, and actually ended up getting ejected in that game because Ross fouled him particularly hard late in the game, and that cost the Nuggets that ball game. So somebody else is going to have to pick up the slack. This is not a series that Melo can win by himself. Great as he's been all year and as clutch as he's been, he can't win this series by himself.
I want to know, Dan, what's the vibe like in Denver? Is this city behind this team?
You know, it's hard to say. It's really been a strange year right now for the Nuggets with all the injuries and the misfortune that and Julius Hodge had an off-court incident where he was shot, and both Coach George Karl and his son have dealt with some cancer-related issues this year. It's just been a really strange season, and with all the promise that this team had, all the injuries have really kept them from putting it all together. I think there's a lot of frustration with this team, to be honest. It doesn't feel like they've flipped the switch. This is a team that thinks that they've got some sort of on switch, and just when they flip it, they're an elite team. But
all right.
Turn that on nearly enough.
All right, Dan. Well, it seems it's going to be like a tough series, tough matchups. Give us your perspective. What's your prediction?
Well, I think the Nuggets win this series in 6 games. I think they take it home at home. I like their playoff experience. I think that that will give them certainly a heads up. I think that Andre Miller will be able to score. He'll get his points. Carmelo Anthony should have a big series, and I think if Kenny Martin is healthy, and there's no excuse now, he's basically hasn't played in a week and a half. There's no excuse for him not to be near 100%. If he's able to contribute and able to help contain Elton Brand, the Nuggets should be able to win the rebounding battle. Camby's a much better rebounder than Chris Kaman underneath. And Melo's the type of player that if he goes off and gets going, then the Nuggets are going to feed off of that. I think they win in 6.
There it is. There it is. Solid gold. Dan Lucero picking the Nuggets in 6. We're going to find out what the Clippers and Kevin from ClipperBlog.com have to say about that. Dan, thank you. And like I said, we're going to get into the Clipper talk right after the break. Tass, what are you listening to?
For Basketball Jones.
Rocky Mountain High, Colorado, Rocky Mountain High.
You're listening to the Basketball Jones with Tass and J.E. Skeets.
You're back. I'm Luke Perry.
Can I be Jason Priestley?
Of course you can.
Donna Martin graduates.
He's already rock and roll. We've got the 90210 theme song going. We talked about the Nuggets. Time to talk about the Clippers, the number 6 spot.
They are back. The Clippers are live.
That's right. And with us from ClipperBlog.com, Kevin Arnovitz. Kevin, are you there?
I am here.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well.
You gotta love that 90210 theme, eh?
Yeah, although we're a little more Barrio here in Clipperland.
Oh, okay, fair, very fair. So let's get into it. Did the Clippers lose on purpose?
Well, listen. I mean, the Clippers have a long tradition, a proud tradition of losing. So, it's just sort of. Let's just say they reverted to default mode.
All right, they went back to the regular process.
Exactly.
Okay, so the Clippers have never been out of the first round. Is it going to happen again? Do these guys have a hope? They have home court advantage as a number 6 seed, unheard of in the NBA. Do they have an advantage with their home court advantage, and can they get out of the first round?
I think as a strong post team, they match up extremely well against Denver. They won the season series 3-1. They blew them out twice. They did a really nice job of containing Melo this year. And, I like them in 5. I'm going to be ambitious.
Wow. Jumping right to the prediction.
I like them in 5.
And why? And why is that? Is because when I watch the Clippers, I feel like I'm watching a team, especially this past season and maybe near the end of the season, so I shouldn't really put much on it, but they just look like a team that when they want to turn it on, will turn it on. You know what I mean? And the rest of the time, they'll just sort of coast.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I think Kaman. There's been a steep learning curve. I think he does get disoriented, particularly in the defensive end. And it's interesting because you say turn it on, turn it off. Against Denver, they played probably their best half of basketball and their worst half of basketball of the season on April 4th in that crazy game that Denver shot 81% in the first half.
That's right.
The Clippers were back from a 20-point halftime deficit. And, it's interesting. They haven't played a game they actually wanted to win for about 3 weeks, so it's hard to sort of, define what, what they've been and what their identity is right now. They haven't had a steady rotation with Maggette sort of coming in and out of the lineup for the better part of 3 weeks. So, it's going to be interesting. They've looked great. Brand is a known quantity. You know what you're going to get out of him night in and night out. Kamen has looked really great in the post. I don't think it's a coincidence that George Karl referred to them as the best post team in the West.
Will we get more out of Brand in the playoffs, or are we just going to see the solid 2010? Or do you think he'll try to take it to the next level and they'll feed him to get it to the next level?
25-10 is I think what you're going to get, and 9 for 14 from the field. He's an 80% foul shooter right now, and he's the new Duncan.
Those are MVP.
He's the new
numbers.
Duncan. That's well put.
He's the new Duncan.
All right. Well, there wasn't a lot of changes from last year to this year. Obviously, the big one is Sam Cassell. What is Sam Cassell? What does he mean to this team? What is he going to do for him in the postseason?
Bill Simmons is fond of reporting on the testicle dance, and we're going to ride those balls all the way to the second round, certainly. It's strange for me because I'm not a guy who likes to talk about intangibles a lot. I'm sort of a sabermetrician when it comes to baseball, and I'm sort of an APBR guy when it comes to basketball, and and I've actually been rough on Cassell because I think defensively he's a real liability, and but he's been huge. It's just you see it in the confidence. They are a well-oiled machine on offense right now, and Cassell's a really big part of that. On top of that, he hits these just ridiculous pull-up shots in transition. He's single-handedly probably won 4 or 5 games.
And you had on your blog, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure if it was you or a guest writer or whatnot, but someone that was actually hanging out in the Clippers locker room a couple weeks ago, or maybe not even that long ago, and I remember him commenting on how this is just like such a cohesive unit. They get along, they joke around. Mobley's snapping towels off everybody. What are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting. One of the things, and actually, it's a post I was going to write tomorrow, and I may still do it, is I was going to refer to it as Team Gym Rat. The one thing that struck me about this team, sort of midway through the season, is every single guy on this team is like obsessed with basketball. They're basketball junkies. Brand is a guy who's just, even from Peaks Go High, you hear these stories. The guy never left the gym. Maggette is just an athlete first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
Cassell eats, drinks, and sleeps basketball. He's already talked to the Clippers about basically signing a 2-year extension and then, sliding right into the assistant coach role. Mobley's pretty much just a basketball hound, and Kamen doesn't. Kamen's pretty much ill-equipped to do anything else in life, but
except eat children.
It's just a team that's. They're gym rats. That's what this team is. They're basketball obsessed, for better or for worse. Cassell's a really big part of that, and it'll be interesting. He's going to want to take big shots. That's just who he is. I hope he feeds Brand.
Well, sorry to cut you off, Kevin. The Clippers are back, 902-0. I wish was back. And thanks a lot for joining us. You said 5, clip in 5. That's right. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to get into the Dallas-Memphis series. We're going to talk to the Dallas rep right after this break. You're listening to the Basketball Jones.
My mom loved this show. Who shot JR? Who shot him? Was it Maggie Simpson?
I don't know, but you sure love talking about your mom.
You're listening. I love my mother. You love your mom, too. Say hi to her real quick.
How do you know I love my mom? You don't know me, Skeets.
Say hi to your mom real quick.
Hey, Ma.
There you go. You're listening to the Basketball Jones. I'm Jay Skeets, Melas, JD. Our final series here for the Western Conference, and it's a beauty. Dallas Mavericks in the 4 spot after 60 frickin' wins. They're in the 4 spot, you heard me correctly, and the 5 Memphis Grizzlies, a 4-5. We have with us Joe Boykus from Rebel Ballin', a fantastic Dallas Mavericks site, part of the Most Valuable Network, fantastic site.
Joe, what's going on?
Oh, not too much, man. I'm having a great time.
Great, man.
All
Great.
right.
Thanks for coming on the show. Let's just start. Let's get it out there. If you're frustrated, let us know. Do you feel screwed that the Mavs have the 4th seed?
You know what? I honestly do. But you know what? I can't do anything about it, and Stern's got to fix that. But until he doesn't, the Mavs are just going to have to make do with number 4.
Well, you guys are going to have to get through the Spurs either way, so you're going to have to face them in the second round if you do get through the Grizzlies. So really, I think it ends up being the same.
That's true, it does. But, I mean, I think the whole fan base really would have loved to see the Spurs and Mavs in the conference finals.
I agree.
But,
yep.
Yeah. And
You should have the 2 best teams playing in the finals of their conference. It makes sense.
Exactly, and I mean, the Mavs had, 6 or 7 more wins than the 3rd place team in the conference, the Phoenix Suns. So, and then get the Phoenix Suns, they get, the easy half of the bracket. So
yeah, makes no sense.
Quite fair,
but let's not look too far ahead because, like we just said, the Mavs have this is a difficult matchup for as far as 4-5 goes. The Memphis Grizzlies in the 5 spot. I'm gonna throw this out there to you. What's the X factor in this series? Is it a player or a style for the Mavs to overcome the Grizzlies and move on to the second round?
Well, I really think the Mavs can play any kind of style. The Grizzlies love to slow it down. They're a very defensive team. They only allowed 88.4 points per game this season. And the Mavs are a great team when they slow it down. But I think the X factor is, aside from Dirk Nowitzki, he's going to get his points. The X factor has got to be Josh Howard because they really need him to produce. When he scores 20 points during the season, the Mavs were 19-0 when he scores at least 20 points. So I think if he plays well and Dirk plays well, then they will easily move on.
Well, it's a great point about Josh Howard because they were actually horrible when he wasn't in the game at all. When he was injured this year, they had an abysmal record. I think they won 1 game or 1-9, I believe, or something totally horrible while he wasn't in the game.
Yeah, he's a big piece of that puzzle up there in Dallas.
Now, one knock here, I guess, on the Mavericks is that they've always shown to be a regular season team, but they've yet to really prove their worth in the playoffs. Do you see that changing this year?
Well, they're a different team than they have been in the past. I think that's partly due to Avery Johnson and his system that he's implemented. I think the players have bought into his system. They're more aggressive. They're a tougher team. I think they're better in the post with Eric Dampier and Sagana Diop.
Diop.
Always had trouble. So,
Sorry, Skeets just got excited. Go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I think that the center situation and the fact that Avery Johnson has instilled such a great system there, I think that they'll easily be able to get past Memphis.
But this is Avery's first year as a head coach in the NBA playoffs, and I know he's been there as a player. He's won championships. Do you think it's going to be a factor that he's a rookie head coach going into the playoffs?
So he was there last season. Don't forget that he took over with
that's right,
like 16 in the regular season.
That's right.
And but I think he learned from last postseason when the Mavs dropped the first 2 games in Dallas against Houston, and I think they'll learn. They'll come out hungry and focused, and they'll hopefully not drop the first 2 games at home this time. But I think he can definitely take them deep. He's a rookie coach. I mean, I'll give him that, but he knows what he's talking about. He won a championship.
Now, Jerry Stackhouse, I know he's a great cook, and he wears the tights to keep everything together in the groin area. How big a factor do you think that's going to be in this series?
They definitely need him to step up off the bench. I don't know what that deal is with the gummy worms or whatever, but I think him coming off the bench against. I think it'll be a great matchup, by the way, against Mike Miller, who could be the sixth man of the year.
Yeah, two six men going at it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hear it, Joe. The final prediction. Who do you like, and how many games?
Right now I got the Mavs in 5 games.
Ooh, I like it. Very confident. Mavs in 5. Yep. Mavs in 5. There it is. Joe Boykus from Rebel Ballin', a fantastic Dallas Mavericks site. Mavericks.mostvaluablenetwork.com. Make sure to check that out. Joe, I'm sure we're going to have you on as the rounds progress, because the Mavs, I like the Mavs moving on too. But anyway, we're going to hear from us, Tass and me,
all right,
about the Memphis Grizzlies right after the break. You're listening to the Basketball Jones.
You're listening to the Basketball Jones with Tass and J.E. Skeets.
Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues in the middle of the pouring rain.
Hey, what are the odds? You're wearing blue suede shoes right now. That's really odd. Whoa.
Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Just close your eyes. Feels like we're there. I didn't think I was.
This is Cher.
I didn't think I was going to enjoy this version.
This is the Cher version.
Well, she's got an axe fan. I didn't know she.
Are those shoes comfortable?
My baby blue loafers. Damn, these new loafers hurt my pockets.
No, you didn't. You got them at the Goodwill.
It's Valley Village, man.
All right, time to talk Memphis Grizzlies. I just want to say this, if I could. Memphis Grizzly fans, where are you? Do you even exist? Do you even follow this team? Do you care? Do you want to talk about them? They're a 5th seed in the playoffs. Pretty darn good, if you ask me, in the West. Where are you?
Apparently no one wants to talk to us about the Memphis Grizzlies.
No. Not many people write about the Memphis Grizzlies, but the people that do, they don't like to write emails. They don't like to press reply. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say. No, it's just sad. I wish we were striving to get a blog representative for each team. And we've done a decent job, but we missed out the Pacers in the East. All right.
Enough with
let's
the bitching
start walking on.
Skeets.
Let's start. I'm just pissed because I don't really give a crap to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. So go ahead, Tass. Talk away. Here. Go nuts.
Put the head. Get back in your seat, jerk.
Go nuts.
Get back in your seat.
No, go nuts.
Grow up. Just get back there. Get in front of your mic. Maybe people are pissed off that
I don't know why you're wearing your shoes in the house anyway.
They're loafers. You can wear them anywhere.
All right, Memphis Grizzlies.
Maybe people are pissed off that they're 0-8 as a playoff team.
They have never
won a playoff game.
Never won a playoff game.
How about that?
You know what? This is the year, though.
This is the year that they win a playoff game. That's a bold prediction,
shut
Skeets.
Up. Don't mock me. I'll walk away again. You're nothing without me, Tad.
I'm everything with these freaking loafers.
Memphis Grizzlies. They have never won a game. They are. You can tell. It's been a long show. We're not used to these hour-long shows.
These Grizzlies are a playoff team. They're built for the playoffs. Having watched them the last few weeks, gone 8-1 in their last 9.
When have you been watching the Memphis Grizzlies?
You're such a jerk. I watched them play the San Antonio Spurs. You're nothing without me, Skeets. I watched them play the San Antonio Spurs about a week and a half ago on a Sunday. It was 2 weeks ago. Anyway.
That must have been a great game.
It was a good game. It was a playoff atmosphere. It got me so into the NBA playoffs. It got me ready for the playoffs. The stadium was pumping. They were playing in San Antonio. And it was a really good battle. The game was slowed down. It reminded me of old school playoff basketball. They were going inside, playing hard-nosed, tough basketball, possession by possession, just the way they've played all year. But it was a great atmosphere, and I think this team was made for the playoffs.
Are they made to beat the Dallas Mavericks?
No way. They can't beat the Mavs. They have a great inside presence in Gasol that they can go to.
The bearded great one.
Yeah.
The bearded dragon. Wow, we should start calling them that. I wish they were called the Dragons. That'd be sort of cool. Sorry, Tess. You're angry. You want to talk X's and O's about the Memphis Grizzlies. I just don't care. I just don't have it in me. They got a good team. They got Battier. They got some veteran players. No, you're right. No one talks about them. No one writes about them.
I guess no one cares about the Memphis Grizzlies. It just seems like they're a 5th seed team. They're 48-33.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good team, and no one seems to care about them. They're just, They just seem to go under the radar each and every year.
Yeah.
But they have...
Well, it doesn't help when you can't win a playoff game.
Well, if they're in the Eastern Conference, they'd win a hell of a lot of playoff games.
They'd be in the final.
Yeah, well, they'd be pretty damn far. They'd be a 3rd or 4th seed.
So you say they have no chance of beating the Mavericks. I think that's dead on. But can they take it? Wait,
yeah, they just have no one to stop Dirk. That's their issue, I think. They have one defender in Eddie Jones.
Shea Battier.
And Shea Battier, yeah. They can guard a perimeter guy, and they'll probably stop Josh Howard, I think, and minimize him, but Dirk's going to go off. Powell can't guard him. So they're gonna have some matchup problems. And since you don't like talking about the Grizzlies, I'll continue to talk about them while you sit in silence.
There's just nothing to say, Tass. They're going to lose. They are going to win their first playoff game.
What?
Great.
What are you here for? Take off those headphones. Get out of here. I'll finish the show by myself.
I'm here for witty comments like the bearded dragon.
Who cares? The bearded dragon. Yeah, that really brought a lot of smiles to people's faces.
It's not even...
Actually, I was in Vegas one time and I played poker with this guy.
On someone's comp card?
No.
That's a different story.
Yeah, totally different story. Played with this guy, called himself the Dragon. Wore a dragon hat, dragon shirt, had a big gold dragon chain.
The dragon doubles down.
Yeah,
double dragon. That's what he should have said.
He wore headphones and didn't talk to anybody at the table. Listen to this, Skeets. Playing poker, all he did was say, when it came to him, he'd say, "The dragon spits out 5 claws," and he'd throw out 5 chips. No one could converse with him. The dragon calls. That's all you would hear.
Okay, so
dragon raises you, Skeets.
If I were to ask the dragon, if the dragon was sitting across from me right now, and I asked him, Dragon, Mr. Dragon, I don't know if I call him Mr. Who wins this series? What's your prediction between the Grizzlies and the Mavericks?
First of all, the dragon wouldn't hear you because he has headphones on.
Oh, right. So if I did sign language to him,
the dragon says Dirk and Dallas will win in 5. We'll give you the rest of our predictions.
Now I love the Memphis Grizzlies.
We'll predict some more, wrap up the show. I'll do it on my own because Skeets won't be here. Right after this, you're listening to the Basketball Jones.
Did not see him. They just hovered around his tomb. There's a pretty little thing.
You Jonesing for some basketball? You're listening to the Basketball Jones with J.E. Skeets and Taz.
Did we have to cut off that Cher song?
It's beautiful.
Like, honestly, I've had enough John Tesh to last me a lifetime. Anyways, just wanted to let you all know we've got 2 shows a week coming up for the rest of the playoffs. 2
times.
Every Thursday, every Monday. Great insight from our experts. The rest of the playoffs, if you want any answers from them or from us, contact us.
416-519-4778 or Jones at thebasketballjones.net. We need to thank all our bloggers that called in, gave us a lot of insight into the series. Quickly, though, we've heard what they thought, Tass. What do you think? Who do you like in the first, in the 1 versus 8 Spurs?
I like San Antonio 4-2.
Yeah, I like the exact same thing. What about the Suns matchup?
I like Phoenix 4-1.
Holy crap, I'm with you on that one, too. Okay, what about the Clippers with the home court?
It's going to take them 7 games. They're going to win 4-3.
I'm going to go 6 Clippers. What about the final one, Dallas in the 4-5 with Memphis?
Memphis is going to get a couple. It's going to be 4-2 Dallas.
I like Dallas in 5. Yeah, that's what I like. That's exactly what I like.
Thank you for tuning in. And remember, always keep your head up when you dribble.
Sound advice.
You've been listening to the Basketball Jones, podcasting from thebasketballjones.net. As always, we want to hear your thoughts. Give us a call on the Jones line, 416-519-4778, or email us at jones@thebasketballjones.net. Thanks for keeping up with the Joneses. See you next week.